a new toy followed me home. Here it is on my garage floor, all disassembled at the moment, so you can't really see what it is. But this is a Logan 7502 chucker lathe, obviously in pieces. I picked it up from a nice gentleman on Craigslist. He had gotten it from another gentleman on Craigslist, which it was previously disassembled and then disassembled further. So I haven't seen it run. I looked over all the parts. It looks like everything is here. And I have plans for it even if everything's not here, so I'm not too worried. But all the main pieces seem to be present and accounted for, and it's in pretty good shape. And I got it for a steal, partially because it was disassembled already, and partially because it's a big old heavy lathe, and not everyone wants one of those. So let's see, let's do a quick tour of the pieces, and then I'll get out the tripod and show some of the interesting bits in detail. So right here is the apron and the cross slide. It's hard to see on the very bottom. You can see the cross slide. This one doesn't have a compound. It's just a horizontal cross slide because it's a chucker turret lathe. On the back side, looking pretty good. Everything moves nice and freely. Obviously there's a bunch of crud, but the ways look nice. Over here is the gearbox. We've got a bag on top just to keep the dust out because it's not currently. Let's see, there we go. So here's the gearbox. Everything moves pretty smoothly. So this engages the lead screw. It's unengaged. And then this is the back drive. And then as part of that, so you pull this out and you also pull this, which does come out, but it's really stiff. You really gotta crank on it. I think it's just a bunch of gunk. But I was playing around with it earlier and everything does move all right once you get it fully pulled out. And then if you put it back in direct drive, there it goes. Obviously there's quite a bit of accumulation of junk in there, but it's mostly just old oil. When I clean this out, the bearings are sealed and you're not supposed to get any coolant or anything in the bearings past the labyrinth up here. So I'm not gonna really clean too aggressively inside the gearbox, just mop out some of this old oil and replace it with new oil. Clean up all these gears, the pulley's in good shape, the casting looks nice, there's no chips or anything. It's in really good shape. Here is the front of the apron. So let's see, try to remember what all the pieces do. I believe this hand wheel is for the cross slide. This is for manual. It does have power feed. I think it might be this one. When you put that in, now this is connected to the power feed. Undo that. Oops, you're wobbling. This over here, I don't remember what that does, to be honest. I'm not sure. Take your hand this way. So we've got the chip tray, and then part of the pedestal. Not much to see there. Here's the electronics on the top. Some good old fun relays. Yep, not much to see there. Here is the rack for the manual control of the apron. This is the front of the gearbox for the lead screw. This is for my trailer. You can take that away. Let's see, here is the front. So even though it is a turret lathe, it does have threading, which is pretty cool. You don't always see that on these turret lathes. This one was set up so that the turret can pull all the way off to the side, so you can get normal lathe tooling and do things like threading, which you can't always do with a turret, from what I understand. Here's the Acme screw, the lead screw, the bed is in nice shape. Thing weighs a ton. I believe this model, should be flame hardened. I don't think there was an option for it not to be flame hardened. And it looks like it's in pretty good shape. The guy had previously bought it from someone else, and that fellow was a machinist. And so when he bought this from that other guy, the first fellow coated everything in a real thick coat of cosmoline, which has preserved everything really nicely. There's very little rust on any of this. Inside the cabinet, this particular model has a variable speed drive. It's one of the old-fashioned variable speed with the pulley belt system. You can see the pulleys right here. I don't think I will probably be using that. Inside this box, you can see those gears there are for the gearbox for the lead screw. And then just a whole bunch of other junk that goes with it. This is a manual stop to put it at the end of the turret lathe through all the different turret operations. A lot of this these are actual tool holders. Oops, it's not in frame. These are tool holders that go on the turret. There's a bunch of different varieties, which is nice. Here is the top of the turret itself. You can see it's a big octagon. I think it's an 8 position. So this goes on the cross slide, and then this is actually what holds the tools. They slot in those little T-slots. I think that's about it for interesting things. Right. Over here, this pulley is for the variable speed drive. So one of these pulleys attaches to the motor, and the other one attaches up to the gearbox. This thing here, I believe, is I'm not sure what it's called. It's like a bar feeder. It looks like it's pneumatically driven. You can see here. Oops. Move that out of the way. There's essentially a gas line right here that goes down and over to this unit. And I think it essentially just drags in new bar stock for production purposes. So yeah, crank the lever one way or another, and it shoots gas and drives a piston inside of here, and then moves the bar stock out towards the end, feeds it, and you stop when you hit a stop. Don't think I'll probably be using that, but it's a neat feature. Some plates over here. This is the motor mount on the bottom, like a motor pivot. Everything over here is more gears, bits and pieces, which I don't actually know what they do. This right here, this thing that actually looks like a steady rest is not a steady rest. It's a part of the turret turning mechanism. And then over here, this is a brake for the spindle, which is kind of cool. Yeah, so I think that's about it. Plans, well, I'm not entirely sure. I've not decided what I want to do quite yet. I was originally going to strip it all down, do a proper repaint, sort of like I did with the mill. But I've been looking at it, and the paint's in really good shape, to be honest. There's no rust really anywhere. The dirtiest thing is really just the gearbox here and the apron, which you'd kind of expect. That's probably where most of the chips and wear and tear shows up. But even they're not, it's really not bad. There's spots here that could use a touch up. But I think I might just clean it, maybe touch up the paint rather than repaint everything. It's really cold, right? I mean, let's look outside real quick. Oh, that's way too bright. You can't see that at all. Well, take my word for it. It is really cold. There. I'm not sure you can appreciate, there's about 18 inches of snow outside. So it's really a hassle to keep my shop warm. And trying to paint this in the cold is gonna be really hard. So I might just defer painting, or maybe not even paint at all. And just do some tidy cleanup and start reassembling. And then I think what I'm gonna do, rather than get the variable speed drive working again, which I've heard is really finicky, I think I'm just gonna CNC this machine. It seems like it'd be a good fit, right? So turret lathes don't have a tailstock. They don't have steady rests. They're missing a lot of things that make engine lathes nice, but they're designed for production, and they have a lot of amenities like the rotating turret. So I think this would make for a really nice CNC conversion, especially because one of the things that is missing, I don't have a motor. It does not come with the motor, and I knew that up front. It also doesn't have a chuck, but that's a separate issue. So I think I might just get myself some, well, either a three-phase VFD system, or maybe just get some big chunky brushless servos and turn this baby into a CNC. I think could be kind of a fun project. It would let me poke at it. If I'm missing things, like say I'm missing gears here for the threading quick change, I don't actually care, because all of this stuff here, right, the gears and inside this box, you don't really need anymore when it's CNC controlled. I can keep the gearbox here working the way it is, either back gear or in direct drive, and then just hook up my CNC motor straight to this pulley right there. Yeah, and get X and Y, or I guess it's, what is it, Z and X for lathes. Yeah, and just see how that goes. I think that might be a fun project. Worst case, if things don't work out, I don't really want to destructively alter, like this apron, for example. So I'll just do things in a way that bolts into existing holes. And if I don't like it, doesn't work, I can always go back to the way it was originally built and do, just have a regular manual turret lathe in my shop. So yeah, I think this will be a project. I don't really have any other updates. This is gonna be a long-term project. I just was so excited to get this, I wanted to share and give a sneak peek at some things that might be coming in the future. We'll see. This is definitely a as time allows it sort of project. Nothing immediate. I've got a lot of other projects in the work and just things to do around the house too. But yeah, I think that's all for today. Thanks for watching.